All right, recording. All right, hello everyone. To all you wonderful people joining us right now, and to all you foreign scum who are spying on this podcast, welcome. This is episode 1 of the Feldzeitung podcast. I am one of the hosts, Ocean, and Hawk. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Howdy.
Yeah, that's Hawk. Yeah. Uh, why won't our guests introduce themselves if they want? Yeah, no, it's just for the foreign spies. It's just for the foreign spies.
Well, I'm LordTylerSherman, Kaiser of Austria.
And if Herman wants to talk,
I'm General Hermann of the NRC. And the CEO of the Regiment.
it's all right. Um, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. All right. Now the introductions are out of the way, I guess we should move on to our first topic. All right, Hawk, why don't you
Okay,
start us
yeah.
off?
So I was really just basically, I guess we'll just start with Tyler and then we can go to Herman. So it's really just getting the ground lays. This is something that I somewhat know, but obviously the story is a little interesting. Like how exactly you got here in the first place. So like Roblox, Napoleonic, this whole campaigns thing. How exactly you got here from doing anything else like useful with your life? You could be doing anything else, but why are you here?
Yeah,
And how are you here? That sort of thing.
you could have found the cure to cancer, but no, you're leading
Yeah.
Lego people under an Austrian
Oh
flag.
boy. Well, how far back are we talking? Are we talking the foundation of Austria, or are we talking like how I got into this
How you got
community?
into this community that far back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Europa
Okay.
Invicta.
So, in general, it goes even before Europa, of course. Around 2013-ish, I got into the genre through EGB, funny enough. And it's kind of funny because their 10-year anniversary just happened recently, I think in the past few days. At that point, they were colonial. The whole genre was colonial. Napoleonic didn't really exist, and there was a handful of groups. I kind of rose through the ranks in like the span of that year, became brigadier general there, and that's EGB knows me from that. But then after my tenure there, which was like maybe 8-ish months or so, kind of moved over from different groups, went to a Civil War group, went to a Texas group. Then I actually made my own group. My first group was the Vermont Republic. Funny enough, that was an actual country for
Yeah,
13
yeah.
odd
Let's
years.
fucking go.
And I did
I
that. It was small, 10-ish men.
yeah.
And then after that, I started doing other smaller groups with my new following. And I then met General Gory, and we hit it off, and we collaborated on our first group together around 2015-ish, which was a Victorian Austria, funny enough.
Oh,
And at that point, Victorian era was the thing of the community. And the group got up to about 20 active. It was pretty neat. It was about that time Gory began to innovate the genre itself, but we kept all of it to ourselves. We didn't really give it out to anyone. And then we decided to move on from that group and formed our first France, La France Imperiale. Brand new weapons were made, new UI. We didn't share it with anybody. It was ours. We were fighting other groups like EGB and some of the smaller ones, but we were practically one of the larger ones in the genre, rallying about 50. And this was about like 2016, 2017, I think.
damn.
Well, after that, we split ways. Gory formed a Prussia with his guys, and I went off. I went offline a little for a little bit because I had just entered high school at that point. But then I came back, met Zenvox, as some of you might know, Zenvok Sherman.
Yeah.
He was my solid second in command for a really long time. We bounced around a few different groups. We did a Bavaria, we did a Russia, and we finally settled on a France GA, which a bunch of people here were veterans of. Uh, During GA, that lasted a pretty good amount of time, over a year and almost 2 years, I think. But by 2018, I began to lose interest in Roblox in general. It was almost the end of high school for me. And I went to War of Rights, the Steam game. And
Oh
I
yeah.
formed
Yeah.
the 9th New York Regiment, and then later on expanded it to the 9th Corps, which is still one of the more prominent ones in the game. Last year, in 2020, it was about midway through my sophomore semester in college. I was getting back into the Napoleonic spirit. I was really getting into Austrian history again. I always liked Austria. Um, I tried it a few times, as I had mentioned before, but never could make it stick. Nobody was interested, didn't have the staff, didn't have the materials to make it work. And at that point in time, I thought, well, I haven't spoken to any of my old vets in a really long time. I wasn't in any of the discords or anything. So I logged back into my Roblox account for like the first time in 2 years, found the Sherman group, and joined the Discord, where I was met by Sneaky Auto and a bunch of other fuckers. And they were like, holy shit, you're back. And then I had they were asking about a group, and I mentioned Austria, um, and I wasn't too sure about it. I didn't even know if we can get it off the ground. They were all in their own groups, and I didn't want to really steal people away. But there seemed to be a really, really strong interest in the idea, and I just didn't know where to start. I didn't, we didn't have any uniforms, we didn't have any assets. I didn't know what to do. However, I then started speaking to Gory about it, because at that point, of course, his France and BA and all them and Prussia, and they were all up and doing stuff with the Strasbourg systems, as well as EI being around. And of course, I had been talking with Gory, of course, throughout those 2 years. He was the only one I really kept in contact with while I was gone. Because I was feeding him information about the War of Rights battle systems, and the skirmish system specifically, which becomes the base for what campaigns is today. The ticket system idea came from War of Rights, that concept. Flag spawning idea came from War of Rights. But the more fast-paced spawning was all him. That had nothing to do with War of Rights. But the base of campaigns really came from that. And over the 2 years, I'd been feeding him some information about it, some cool concepts. And sure enough, by the time I was back, the concept of campaigns was in process. And it kind of inspired me to really come back strong, because Gory said, this is a good time to come and form something. So, with that, as well as the potential staff, the Shermans, all around behind me, I thought, you know what? It is a good time to start. Wazoo, one of my oldest veterans from even before I met Gory, funny enough, he offered, or I was able to get him to make our original uniforms. And then Gory had gotten us all the original hats and equipment, because Gory wanted to help push this at the start. So we were able to really get ourselves up. The original regiment concepts I had were, of course, NR1 and NR2, because they're two of the better regiments you can think of. And then NR16 and NR24. Those were the original four that I had thought. NR1 was going to go under Sneaky. NR2, we didn't have anyone for. And well, actually, we did have somebody for it, but that didn't end up materializing, unfortunately. NR24 was going to be under Auto, and 28, I believe we put under Fred. But at the beginning, we realized, we just didn't have the manpower or enough for it. So we merged 24 into 28, and Auto took 28. So we started with NR1 and NR28. Sure enough, our first map, Essling, was really shit, but it worked out for us. We had the Strasbourg system. We were growing pretty well, really fast. A lot of people started to flock to our cause. They heard I was back. They heard the whole crew, the whole Sherman crew was back together. It gave a little bit of a hit to BA. Took a while before I was able to regain, rules favor because of that. But we started to grow pretty big. We were getting up to 40, 50, and I was like, holy shit, this is like already one of the biggest groups we've done. That's like pretty crazy. And then came a blessing, and that was Liftius. And Liftius was in NR28 at the point. He was an NCO, and I had heard his reputation from the Rheinbund and LGA and some of the other past groups. So I've known who he was, and he wasn't doing anything at the point. So I offered him a regiment, and
NR4.
His stipulation was to do NR4, the Hotch Deutschmeister, which looking back now, the nickname was wrong. It was just Deutschmeister at the point, and the Hotch came in around 1813. But you know what? With the amount of inaccuracies that we have, I'm going to let it slide at this point. Looking at you, Hawk. But yeah, when Liftius then took over 4, everybody had the Shakos at the time, and that was fine. And we started to grow. We were getting bigger. We were almost up to 80. But we had a sense of a spirit of being the best. Who cares what size we were at? We were just looking to be the best and looking for how our performance on the field was. We didn't care if we won or we lost. We just went out there and just kill. And it worked very well. We had destroyed EGB. We had kicked Andor's ass with Russia at one point before it crashed. We were fighting, the French corps. We were keeping up with the Guard, the Imperial Guard. We flags at one of the grand battles, and it was looking good. We had a really good crew, and I really couldn't complain. And then we opened up NR2 with under Hermann Sherman, who I think he's no longer with us, but if he is, he's in the insurrection. Not too sure. And of course, all those guys from NR2 are in the insurrection, the originals. But it was good stuff. Everything was working out really well. And then Ruski's guys came in, made 37. We made a few mistakes with cores. We thought we set things up in general. But
Risky.
The issue came, we grew way too big, way too fast. We were the first group to be filmed by Pixelated Apollo, and that was only because I was friends with him from the War of Rights days, because he did 14th Brooklyn and I did 9th New York, and we formed a pretty good pairing, and we did a bunch of videos together. So he knew me. He wasn't convinced at first, but based off of what I was showing him and things, he got convinced pretty easily to go ahead and film us. And it really spiked our activity at that point. And we were doing a war with Italy, which was an absolute slug match, and holy crap, like everybody wanted to kill themselves with that. It was so long. It really hurt.
The memories, man. The memories.
I
was part of that activity spike. Yeah, I remember. No, bro. Those days bring back so much nostalgia. 37. Those Russian exiles. Holy shit, man.
Yeah. It was a interesting crew. We merged NR1 and 2 at one point, which was like pain.
NR 59 was it? Was it 59?
Yeah, it was
60.
No, it was 60. And then they switched to 59 under Fred. But at that point, yeah, that's really the making of Austria itself, and at least my beginning career. It was interesting. It was a lot of spirit for Austria, which I had never seen in my entire time in the community. I had never seen an Austria work so well and grow so big with so much spirit and energy towards it, and enough people liking the idea of it. I'd never seen that before. It was pretty nice to see.
Right.
I'm well, if I could just ask, because I
I'm good.
because I sort of left the group for like 2-3 months during last summer. So if I could just ask, for one, what happened to NR4 and what happened to Liptius?
Okay, so around May, June area, I was actually in the process of moving to Virginia. That failed. I just moved 2 days ago to Connecticut, so here I am in Connecticut. But besides the point, around that same time, campaigns or Waterloo, because it was only Waterloo at that point, was really, really stale. The cores were up. It was Liptius and Ruski, and then Sneaky had 59 and 28. And we were on a bit of a losing streak at that point. Things were looking pretty grim, and we decided to hang it up. Around the time I was moving, I didn't think I was going to have the time. I didn't have the energy or the spirit, to continue, and we just decided to hang it up. So that's really what happened with Liptius's guys. Everyone went to Andor really, and then that's within 24 hours, I was contacted by multiple people. A lot of people asking about, we shouldn't have shut down. We should continue. One of the big proponents of that was Chewie Aurelius, as big of a retard as he is sometimes, even though he's annoying me at some points, if he didn't push me to reopen, I don't think we would be here right now at this point where we're about to start hitting 200, almost 300. I give him a lot of credit for getting us back up to, yeah, it was good. I didn't have a spirit, but he gave me a little bit of inspiration, and everybody who DM'd me within that 24 hours after the shutdown encouraged me to pick back up and get the ball back rolling.
Bro, that was one of the biggest anticlimaxes in my time in EI. I had a whole career set up. I joined Andor Royal Guard, and then out of the fucking blue, you pinged us all.
I'd like to swing it back because obviously I got that, but I'd like to hear Herman if you are, because you said you were available. You said you're good. If you could now spin your yarn here and how exactly you got here into this community and now here, I guess.
So unlike Tyler, and I'm sorry if the audio is dog shit. I just got back. Thank you, Tyler, for filling as much space as he could.
I saw your text.
So I started my time in the what I would colloquially call the era in about 2019. I joined initially Gaudius Cerdominus as a ranker in Artudes, Austria, actually, funnily enough. And I was in one of his no, it was Doug's group. I first joined Doug's Westphalia. And I was in his Chevalier Guard with my closest friend, who's unfortunately no longer on Roblox, but he and I had spent a lot of time in Doug's group, and then we kind of said, you know what, this is a lot of fun. Let's see what we can string together here. And so we put together a pretty shit Russian group in GC that lasted for a few months and had a peak rally of like 50. But for late 2019, early 2020, it was not anything that was really spectacular. Graham 6292 reached out to me, and at this point, he and Heiji Kuropa were doing a BA. So I went and served as a sergeant major with Graham and Vanity TT for a bit. Had a lot of fun there. Ended up becoming a brigadier in BA before I hung up the hat when Graham decided it was time for him to hang up his hat. And then I went to LEMP's GA with Vanity. I served initially as captain in the Young Guard Cavalry of the Imperial Guard. And then I took major responsibilities with Vanity. He took the Legion of the Vistule. I eventually took over the regiment. This is probably around June of 2019 or 2020 rather. Vanity was promoted to the marshalcy of the Second Corps in LEMPS, and I took essentially brigadier responsibilities, but I was a colonel general of the Vistule. This is when GC dies. We're in EI at this point, early EI, so this is pre-campaign. So you can imagine how boring it was with us just fighting with EI lasers for a few months. So the group was starting to decline, and it got to the point where no one was really having any fun. So I decided to go back to GC. I had a little Warsaw there, which ended up rallying about 100. And Leopold Krantz had been running in Italy. I'm not sure if he's here, but Leo had always been a good friend of mine. He was my marshal in LEMPS when I was in it. And when I saw that he was still doing his Italy, I decided to go to him. And that's where I actually ended up meeting 90. And 90 and I have been doing groups with each other ever since. Had a lot of fun with Mr. 90 Ninjas. But a few months later, we're still doing Italy. And 90 gives us the idea that we should go try out Waterloo because he had been to one of the battles. He said it was a ton of fun. And so Leo, 90, and I, and some of the Italian guys attended a few raids for Naples. And this is when Naples was kicking the living shit out of Italy. And I remember we attended a raid where Naples rallied like 150 and blew Italy out by like 6K. My first Waterloo battle. That's when 10-man lines still worked. And I had so much fun in it, and I was pretty good at it. So I decided to stick with it. After Naples, I ended up going to BA for a bit. Realized how terribly run it was, so backed out of BA. And Stefan and Gal had been looking for someone to take over or start a regiment rather in the new Fifth Corps. PBX, I'm not sure if he's here, but PBX had put in a good word for me. I had known of Gal through LEMPS GA, and I'd spoken with him a few times, but we weren't close at all. And I didn't know Stefan at all. But they took the chance and they gave me the command of the 93 February 14th, which was coming up on finals for me. So I got the regiment to 50, and as soon as I went into the finals trek, I completely died, and the regiment died as a result. I mean, there was a time where we were rallying 7, but I got back early summer and got the 93 up from 7 men to about 140 peak rally. So great turnaround on that. But I became a general. Gal was on leave, and I was supposed to eventually go on to take over the Corps with Gal rising as well. Unfortunately, some events had led to that not happening. The now termed August 18th massacre went down, and it resulted in the complete implosion of the Fifth Corps minus the 6E. And so I decided to go down with the ship, and I went to Men of War, where I led the 2nd Division that rallied about 180 at peak before finally deciding that Men of War was not it. I wanted to go back to campaigns, and I had reached out to Tyler initially when Fifth Corps had imploded, and I had asked if I could join, but I was unfortunately soft-blocked and soft-banned from campaigns, but Gory had recently lifted a ban on me, and so I was allowed to make my reemergence in campaigns. And Tyler had been very, very gracious and very, very willing to help me. He set up our guys comfortably and efficiently. And, well, we were given the NR2, and I think we're on a pretty damn good path. But that's my path to Austria, and it's been a bumpy ride, but.
Well, we're here now, aren't we? It's working out.
All
It's
right.
been working out pretty well, I think. I agree with that
Yeah.
statement. It's been working pretty well.
I am shockingly fast. This hasn't imploded. I'm surprised that this hasn't imploded yet.
It's working incredibly
Hawk,
well. Yep.
Hawk, do you want to go over your origins here? I mean, if we're gonna go around the circle, then.
Oh, sure. I'll try my best to not take up too much time. Really, it just came down to back. I was around 15 years old. I was playing Mount & Blade Warband, the Napoleonic Wars DLC. A lot of that community had gone into the regimental systems, and I was just playing on it one day, and some guy came into a server, and he's not here at all. He's not even remotely involved with my life anymore. But a guy came in, recruited me to the 79th Cameron Highlanders, the British and everything like that, the Highlanders, and I still interact with them. Some of the guys from that are in NR24 now. I still interact with them every single day pretty much for the last 5 years. And now, once that sort of died off, once we stopped with that, moved over to Holdfast. That didn't last very long because Holdfast is a shit game. Don't at me. Then we did a short War of Rights stint. I think, honestly, it was pretty close to when Tyler was doing it, too. We were the 79th New York Highlanders. And after that sort of died as well, and then we finally kind of gave up. At a certain point, everyone sort of decided to just not do regimental stuff anymore. And then we moved. That was sort of just what it was at that point, and we had then moved into maybe doing some, just we chill and play Minecraft, and we just hang out and play different games. But eventually, in one of the servers that we owned, one of our smaller communities, or larger, I mean, Unafraid Pie, who is now my technically EXO Oberst, he posts a skill issue GIF, a literal just skill issue GIF from from campaigns, like a meme from it. And everyone is like, what the fuck is that from? We all ask, and we eventually find the video that Tyler's talking about, the first one that they recorded, of Austria. We find that first video that Pixelated Apollo uploaded, and what the fuck, this looks awesome. And we're all like, no, we can't do this. We can't go back to this regimental system. And pretty much we were like, so what if we tried? And we just wanted to at least see. Maybe it wouldn't work out. We were at least going to see what happened. I DM'd Tyler, I joined the Austrian Discord, and I don't know what the fuck to do to even get the ball rolling. So I decided, sure, I'll go right to the top, and I DM'd Tyler, and the first thing I say, I'm very cordial. It's like, hello, Sir Kaiser, something like this. we are interested in maybe forming a regiment. We have a community of blank amount of people or whatever. And Tyler's all, oh, well, lucky you. We were trying to make a regiment. We'll get to that in a little bit. I want to talk about individually the regiments and how they formed and stuff. But pretty much, we were also really close to joining BA because I had DM'd some of the BA guys because obviously we were the 79th CH for a really long time, and we had to make a really hard decision. It came down like a full-on vote to see if we could just abandon our past and go with Austria instead of BA, instead of being Highlanders. But we eventually decided to go with Austria, and now that without throwing any too much shade, I definitely think that was the right choice. I don't think we'd still be here if we were in BA. And yeah, in the end, it was Ginger that came over. Nate Dogg is a corporal in 24 now. Sort of decided instead, he was the old leader of 79. He decided to hand those reins off to myself, and then the exo spot to Pi, and that worked. It worked pretty freaking well, didn't it? But yeah, now we're here. So yeah, there you go.
I might as well go, but I feel I regret going last because I feel ridiculously young compared to all these great people. And I just like to comment, Hawk, and we joined at about the same time, and you made general staff. Well, the highest rank I ever got was NCO.
It's about that
So
grind. It's about that grind,
I
baby.
like to call BS on that.
It's about drive. It's about power. We sit
No,
hungry. We devour.
I hate that meme.
I love
fucking
it.
hate
It's
that
the
meme.
it's the NR24 style.
All right, so I joined in about 2020. Um, in a this was I joined because of the pixelated Apollo video. And funny thing is, um,
Pog. All right, we can cycle
just
back to
give
that.
me a
Oh,
minute.
no, you're
Just
good.
give me a minute.
Hey, Chewy is here, by the way, Tyler, if you'd like to shit on him real quick.
Chewy,
Chewy!
you are retarded. You are
Chewy!
annoying. But without you, we wouldn't be here because you inspired me to continue alongside everyone else that DM me.
Yeah.
Okay.
By the way,
That was it.
screw you
That's
for
the only
ruining.
reason. That was it. There you
Screw
go.
you for ruining my potential Andor career. All right, I made it into the fucking elite regiment. All right, Royal fucking Guard, and look what you did. All right, so since I've moved somewhere else, all right, so I joined from the pixelated Apollo video from that activity surge as Tyler mentioned. I almost joined Italy because I was really impressed with both of y'all fighting, and I literally joined the Italy Discord, but but the funniest thing that got me right was so y'all know the information channels, right, for enlisting in regiments.
Yeah.
That fucking got me into NR1. Like it was like Kaiser's own, and we're the most
Oh,
elite
for
shit
fuck's
ever.
sake.
That's what got me. I could have joined Italy, but no, I joined NR1 because of that. Who the fuck? Hey Chewy, that's what made me join NR1. Yes.
Fuck that information channel. It's only because he's at the top of the Discord, dude. It's only because he's at
No,
the top of the fucking
no,
Discord.
it was the name, man. NR1 Kaiser's own. That's what got me.
See, I've been proven right.
Yeah, and I sort of, and then I developed this love-hate relationship with a guy named Boris Wissman, who at the time was an NCO. He became Boris Sherman. I'm not sure if any of you remember him. Okay, nobody then. And then we did the merge.
Naturally, I remember.
Yeah.
I did a lot of shit with Boris.
Yeah, and then we did the merge. Oh, he's Twango Sherman now. Wait, he's still fucking Twango? Are you kidding me? He still continued with that meme?
And he's an NR21 or NR28.
Holy shit, he's still here? Ah, holy moly. Yeah, but anyway, we did enter, but then I joined up with NR60. I adopted the Floppa, and I still have it, by the way. I still have Floppa. And then no, fuck off. Fuck you, Hawk, honestly. Fuck you. Forcing me to abandon my heritage. Fuck you. And Tyler, come on, you gotta make an exception for the Floppa, man. That is a religious symbol, alright? You gotta make an exception, man.
Cope.
Come on, Tyler, come on.
Okay, anyway.
Oh, boy. The flopper.
Yeah.
No.
I remember the spam.
Floppa.
It's a dead meme.
Floppa.
It's a dead meme.
Dead meme.
And not
Dead
to me.
meme.
Do you know how long it took to get NR2 to stop doing that? Jesus Christ.
Horrendous. I'd like
No,
to.
no.
We can shift this here because it's already been however long. We can start shifting
No.
it towards more of the Austria-focused
Floppa.
things. Shut up.
You got. Come on.
I wanted to quickly shift it over to the ideas of Austria and the coalition. So,
yes.
in the grand scheme of things, like in the grand scheme of the coalition, with alliances, battles with other, coalition guys, the role that the coalition will play, what you guys see, or what Austria might, give
What
to the
Austria
coalition,
might
that sort of
be,
thing,
Yeah, in the future. Yeah, Austria's future in the coalition and the future of the coalition itself.
Yeah. So Tyler, if you'd like, or Herman, either one.
Yeah.
I think it's only fitting that Big Man takes this one first.
Yeah, big dick, big cock, come on.
Yo, Hawk, give me the ping.
Hey, big guy.
Oh boy. Repeat the question.
Oh,
You guys.
Austria.
Tell her.
Here.
Yeah.
Don't worry,
So,
Hawk. I got it, Hawk. I got it.
all right,
All
we're
right.
gonna have to
I
change.
got it, Hawk.
We're gonna have to
Don't-
change the graph because
Don't worry
Chewy's
about
just
this.
our spontaneous third guest now.
So disgusting. The Emperor doesn't even know the question.
Yep.
All right, damn it. All right.
So, am I going? Are you
Oh.
going? What's the idea?
If your mic doesn't
Okay.
fucking die, Jesus
So,
Christ.
All right, it's okay. It's okay. Come on, we can fix this. Damn it.
It's fine. It's fine. If Herman,
Can
give
you
me a
hear
sec.
me? Can you hear me?
Yeah. But
Yeah,
we'll just make it easy on ourselves. All right, Tyler. So it was really just Austria's role in the coalition, like
Yeah, and then it's
the future and
and
what
then
you
it's
see,
future.
that sort of thing. The whole
Hell
coalition
yeah.
as a whole.
All right. So
Mhm.
right now, as it stands, Austria is on pace for being the largest coalition nation, and besides BA, they're growing at their rate. Then there's Andor.
Boo.
Represent
I
Royal
would say
Guard. Hell
they're
yeah.
the largest right now. We're definitely the largest. I think we're about to be able to field well over 200 very soon. And then you have Russia and Prussia. And I would say Russia and Prussia are about the same right now. Right now, the way I see the coalition, it's not on the same page. Unfortunately, everybody has their disagreements with each other. Not everybody really works well together. But here's the thing. I don't think, and this is my opinion, I don't believe that an actual diplomatic coalition needs to exist, because we're all going to be our own server anyways. What's it matter to actually have a physical coalition made? In the end, I think it's more of like we get to the big grand battles and our team is just the coalition of groups. Like, that's all it is. Like,
Yeah.
there's no actual need for a coalition to be formed unless that coalition is actually all on the same page, which it never is. It never is. And so the way I see it, really the only thing that matters is if there's a group that we do like, such as Russia, because, well, me and Sneaky definitely appreciate everything Ruski had done for us in the first run of Austria. We'll always stay close with the Russians and help them any point in time. We like their guys over there, so we'll definitely, be doing stuff with them. I personally like Callahan. We're just waiting on, Prussia to really get themselves up and running, and maybe we can reopen stuff with Prussia. BA, we have some issues with right now, more with their general staff. I have no issue with Rule. Rule has no issue with me. I still talk to him a lot. There's no real issue with that. It's just more staff reasons. Andor, it's a 50-50. I mean, like, again, the way I look at it, we don't need other groups to help us. We're at a point where we are the help. I think we're the ones supplying the help. We're the ones we're the ones that everybody else looks to as the leading coalition group, whether or not Andor and BA might say that that's not correct, but let them have their own opinion. I can guarantee you that France and the rest of the miners and Russia and Prussia probably all can agree on that one, just based off of our size and what we're here to present and help. The way I see it, I'm personally going to try to take a more stronger role now that I am free from the moving hell. I'm going to be personally looking over to make sure that we can get our friends up to speed, and make sure we can get whatever we can to defeat France with. Again, I don't think a coalition, a physical one, is actually even necessary for us to be successful, just based off of the fact that, again, we're all on our own servers. It's not like the early days of the community where the groups were, at least with Waterloo, groups were up to like 60, 80-ish, and we had to have other groups to support us in a server. At least Austria, we're going to be at this point where we're going to be able to field full 2 servers. And I'm working on reforming Medina right now and Lombardy, and we'll be able to get them in on our events, hopefully revamp them enough, and we'll be at 2 full servers. Might try to push it to 3, whatever we can get to. And we don't have to worry about getting other groups to our aid, or in the end, we're going to be the ones coming to their aid. And I'm totally fine with that. I think we're going to have enough manpower where we can do that, and we can take that leading role of being the heads of the coalition, in a way. Again, not a physical coalition, but rather, you have your French nations and their clients, and you have the coalition nations. And I think at this point, like, we're going to try to take a more stronger lead on helping the rest of these coalition nations get themselves up. And while all of our staff are here working on making Austria the best, I'm gonna spend my time making sure we can get everybody up, everyone else up. So we'll see how that goes.
Beautiful. Now, I did really quickly. We could switch over to a little bit more of a personal topic for the people here and everything. I kind of wanted to go down the list one by one.
All right.
Each sort of
This is gonna be-
regiment. Yeah. So we're gonna
Okay,
go.
this
We're
is
gonna
gonna be
pretty much just
bad,
go
Hawk.
down the list. No, we're just gonna go down the list. So basically, with the regiments that are currently here, 1, 2, 24, and 28, just like from your perspective, obviously, Herman, you can give your opinion on the 2 merger and everything like that, and Chewie, or no, Chewie, you shut up. But everyone,
What?
Tyler, obviously, it's very interesting to hear how you've
Why is
seen
Chewie even up
all
here?
of. I don't know. You've seen
We
the
don't
other.
know.
He gave himself perms. Just get out of here. You can just what you've seen from each regiment as they've grown. 1 to 24 and 28, and where they came from and where they are now, sort of just in your view.
Please do not be intimidated by the 40 people in the audience who
Yeah,
will
don't
shit
don't
talk
feel
you.
free. Don't feel free like you have to show any bias.
Yeah. This is a safe space for shit talking Austrians.
Yep.
But just so you know, NR24 represent.
No, for fuck's sake.
This is what you get when you have 2 NR24s as your hosts.
So we can just start with NR1 if you'd be interested at all.
Uh-huh.
He's muted.
Damn it.
All right,
All right.
Herman. We'll start with NR2. Here we go.
Hell yeah.
What?
We'll start it with NR2. You dick.
What am I answering? What am I
Basically,
answering?
well, just your current status. From where you've been and now with 2, how you're feeling about it.
Yeah, just talk about NR2.
Well, we've been trying to experiment with an organizational system that works. Recently, over the weekend, all of our battalions, companies rather, managed to rally their quotas and the goals we had set for them. Our grenadiers hit some astonishing, like 35, Fusiliers in the lay battalion hit 16 or 17 rather. The Obers hit 18, and the insurrection hit like a 22. So the regiment is looking great in terms of rally. Skill wise, our line commanders are getting a lot better than what I had expected them to be getting in the short amount of time they've been in Austria. Recently, our grenadiers have been throwing at some insane rate. I think they had like 60 today. That's bound to change soon with some stuff that Charles and I are going to discuss after this podcast. But we had an Oldenburg merge. Oldenburg had shut down, and they decided they wanted to join. But we're still figuring out how they'll be. But we're looking really, really strong right now. And I think the only thing that I really would shit talk the regiment is how long it takes for us to rally in certain parts. We should be
Right.
rallying in 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, but instead it's taking some companies like 20 minutes to get up to the numbers that they need to be at. So
Yeah.
that's my only gripe, and maybe that's a bit nitpicky. But I think all of Austria, though, is really getting to a point of formidability. And I mean, NR28 is spectacular, NR1 is spectacular, NR24 is spectacular. Really regaining that title of NR28
Yeah.
that previously held it. But
No, it's
that's
awesome.
my opinion.
That's quite
I'd love to
base.
see it like
Quite
that.
base.
Tyler, you shit. Look up.
Tyler?
He's dead.
Tyler?
So all the
Alright.
people shit talking my
Sorry,
phone,
I was
buddy. I'm on
handling something
vacation.
of
No,
Come on.
extreme
you're good.
importance to our
Extreme.
things.
Yeah, his
Yeah.
fire. His house was on fire. Yeah, extreme importance. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
In terms of Austrian diplomacy.
Ah,
and,
yes, Roblox.
clients.
Yes.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yes, the Lego.
No, I know.
What can
I'm just shitting on you.
hit me with next.
Yeah, I was
The
just shitting you.
ultimate dilemma.
So we were just pretty much going down the regiments. Herman was just talking about NR2, and I wanted to get we were gonna go down the list and how you've seen NR1 and 24 and 28 and 2 sort of evolve over time, from where they were and where they are now, sort of thing, just from your view.
It's honestly really impressive to me. How where they've gone. NR1 originally was under Sneaky. Unfortunately, Sneaky wasn't around at the very beginning, so Scorpion was in charge, and he led it really well. And then you had for NR2 was under Herman when it originally began. Not the current Herman, the other Herman, Hermann Sherman. And now both regiments. Well, NR2 got up to about, I would say, 25ish. It never really expanded further than that originally. And it was a shame because I love the Hungarians and the concept of the Hungarians, and having them having them as one of the larger, stronger regiments was always a dream because the Hungarians provided 1/3 of the Austrian army historically. So I wanted that to be the same. It was 1/3 were German, 1/3 were Czech, and 1/3 was Hungarian. And I've always wanted the Hungarian base to be fucking massive, and it never materialized in the beginning run. And for NR1, I was happy with how they were going. They had 2 lines. They were rallying almost 50 or so. They had a strong grenadier line under Alex. They had Scorpion's line with the Fusiliers, and then Sneaky took back over when he could. But I promoted Sneaky to core position, so NR1 was kind of just in its own thing, and I don't remember who took over for NR1. Actually, I think we just gave it to Alex. Not gonna lie, I don't remember, to be quite honest. I think that's an answer Sneaky would remember because he led that core. But so I was always happy with how NR1 was, and NR1 still is around that size. And for future, NR2 is already there, thanks to Hermann Wissman. Well, I'm happy with how the current NR2 is because that's what I wanted the Hungarian base to be. I wanted it to be this 100-strong, massive fucking thing. And when we get new Hungarian chants, people will know in the server, oh shit, it's the Hungarians. That's awesome. And for NR1, my goal in time, I want to see them at, I would like to see them at that nice 75 base, 3 lines, a grenadier, 2 fusilier, and I think it's really realistic. It's the same thing with the 24, what I want them to become, and what I want 28 to become, where NR2 is to be the biggest of the regiments, with the other ones rallying at most 60, 75. And I think it's very much possible. So we'll look into all that. and get NR1's experience up, get, everybody to where they need to be. But, looking at what NR1 was at the beginning and what NR2 was at the beginning, I'm very happy with what they are now, because it's starting to, the vision that I had almost a year ago, because our anniversary is on January 2nd. So we're going to have a big ceremony for that. But, the vision that I had for each of these regiments, I think now has materialized better than I could have hoped.
Beautiful. Absolutely wonderful. So, 28. Wait, so you have to confirm this with me. 28, I get told time and time again, is the oldest regiment. Like, they are the oldest regiment. Is that
Correct.
Okay, so they are, right? And
They
they've
were
been...
the only regiment not decommissioned.
Right.
And NR1 was decommissioned and merged with NR2, because NR2 was decommissioned and they formed NR60 and then 59. So NR28 was the only regiment never decommissioned.
Right. And then, so now they're under Steph, which I don't know much about 28's history. I know a lot more about 1 and 2's, but I don't know much about 28's history.
Why don't you go on and elaborate about that?
So 28, when we had originally made it, was going to be under Fred. And then Otto was going to do 24. The thing is, because of staff issues, we combined the two, and Otto was the senior commander, and I always trusted Otto. Otto's one of the best, I would say, best regimental commanders next to Liftiest, I would have to say, in my opinion. He made 28 absolutely fantastic. And he led it all the way up until the shutdown. His activity began to wane, towards that point, because he was promoted to general of that first corps. But then after the shutdown had happened and we were able to reopen, I had to slap Wazoo in charge. Wazoo had been with NR28 throughout the entirety of it, of course, my veteran. So, of course, I was going to choose Wazoo against his own will. But he did it, and then it was passed on to several folk across that time. Before Wazoo, it was Mountain Sherman, and Mountain Sherman was also in 28 in the first run. He was a staff member, and he was our recorder. But Mountain took over after Otto, and Mountain was a veteran of mine from the War of Rights community, not Roblox, and he followed me from War of Rights. And he took over until his activity began to wane, and then Wazoo took it. And then can't remember who else took it, and now Steph owns it. And Steph, honestly, biggest blessing, is now making 28 one of the chattest regiments in the genre. I would like to hope that their uniform situation fixes itself out over time, but beggars can't be choosers on this one. So
well, you nominated him. Well, you nominated him for top officer in Feldzeitung, so I would expect that he
and
made 128
and correct.
poggers.
Yeah, Sneaky Lego Louie, you are correct. I completely forgot Phil led it, because I only remember that that German man for being a general. Forgot we forced him against his will to lead NR28 for a little bit.
Oh, I remember that.
I was the same Phil.
Don't worry, Phil. We still love you, you retard. But
for fuck's sake, Phil.
Yeah. 28 has materialized into what I hoped it was.
We just got this from Chewy. Apparently, Wagram trailer reached 16K views on YouTube.
Oh, that's awesome. That was
Thanks, Chewy.
I was in it. Prime roll, right in the front. Now about the best regiment in Austria, right? Now about the best regiment, right?
Yeah, we all know which one it is.
We all know which one. Know what it is. Come on. let's start
its
at the beginning.
factors.
Let's start at the beginning. Let's go back.
Its factors are 6 and 4, if you know
Yep,
what I mean.
Yep.
It's factorials or whatever that means.
I'm waiting.
Guys in the audience, you know what we mean. Guys in the
you know
audience,
what we're talking about.
Yeah,
But no, it is
The
interesting.
best regiment in Austria is a prime number.
Yep.
Well,
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
Yep. No, but in all seriousness, the youngest regiment, and still the youngest in terms of experience, 24, was 16. So, I still don't know why you let us in at the beginning, but,
Well, if you want to know that answer, at that point in time, we were in a bit of a rough spot. Coming out of that shutdown was iffy because we lost all of our major veterans, and it took a while before veterans began to pile back on. But it was a rough start, and we needed some fresh blood. I always hated mergers. I always did, unless I was really confident in who it was, like Liftius, for example, or Ruski. But I hate mergers. Never think they work. I trust Herman's opinions on the NR2 stuff, but regardless, like when you guys approached me and I was like, another merger? Fuck, I don't want to have to give them shit. And then when you mentioned, oh, you're coming from Mountain Blade and Holdfast, I was like, wait a minute. That's different.
indoctrination.
That's different because they understand and they also share the vision of what a community should be. Because I took that vision from Mountain Blade Holdfast War of Rights, and I knew you guys understood the same concepts. And so I decided to take the risk and let you guys run with it. Normally I'm not big on that, but I thought hey, let's give them a shot. Worst case scenario, I kick those fuckers out. But best case scenario, they excel because they excelled in Mountain Blade and in Holdfast and War of Rights. So I can only imagine. And it's funny, I didn't realize you guys were the 79th Highlanders in War of Rights. Now that I know that means I did reach out to Ginger several times to get you guys into Corps. I just never realized that was you guys.
No, we talked about that. It was interesting that, we had met. The world is the internet is apparently a small fucking place. Because we had actually interacted before without even knowing, and now we're here.
Yeah, it's funny. I didn't even dawn on me that was the same Ginger.
Yeah.
Because I had reached out to him because I had this grand vision of building the Ninth Corps into this big thing, right?
Yep.
I just didn't materialize, unfortunately. But but that's on the developers. That's the developers' fault for ruining that fucking game. So that's unfortunate. Go battle cry freedom. But yeah, that's funny. Small world that couldn't get you into Ninth Corps, but I stole you guys for Austria.
You did.
That's funny.
I'm glad you did, because I didn't want to. Now that I've seen what it is, I really don't want to be in BA.
No, well, it is what it is, and yeah, that's the main reason I let you guys run with it, because I was just like, these guys have been together for a while now. They understand the concept of what a community should be. They're fresh blood. They don't know the genre. It's easier to mold people like that than it is to try to mold an already established Roblox merger. Yeah. Because, already established Roblox mergers, they have their own communities, but they treat themselves like warlords.
Yeah.
And that's the issue that I've always had with mergers. No offense, Herman, but I trust your ass, so I knew you weren't going to warlord me. But I've had so many warlords in the past, and it was just came to a point where I was like, I'm never going to accept, any of these warlords coming around. And when I saw you guys, I knew you weren't warlords because you were brand new.
We had no idea what the fuck we were doing.
No idea.
Literally, no idea.
still giving you communities.
All right, Ward.
Wait,
Yeah.
can y'all clarify the term? Because I feel really young and like really inexperienced and out of
This
place
was
right now. So
A warlord was coined by Gory.
mhm.
And a warlord practically is an officer or a leader of some kind that has a following, joins a group, recruits in that group to build up the following, and then if he's not satisfied with his time, he jumps ship with the entire group that he had now formed, that whole clan. And sure enough, over time, those warlords have a bigger following, and they keep hopping from group to group with these followings, and they keep expanding. And so they're obviously menaces to the community itself.
Yeah,
And I know
assholes.
in future the concept of warlording is going to be squandered through the blacklist, obviously, which is such a blessing.
Hail
But
the blacklist.
warlording killed so many good groups, and it was unfortunate. And there was no way to stop it, and now there is. And I knew better than to accept warlords, and I knew who the warlords were. So, you know, that's basically what a warlord is. And I knew that Hawk and his guys weren't warlords, and I knew Herman and his boys weren't warlords. Saying, it just came down to knowing who those guys are and what their reputation is. And there's a lot of guys that warlord around, get positions, and then fuck over that group within a couple months because they lose interest. Instead of passing down the regiment, they'll take everybody and run.
Yeah.
And it's so scummy. It kills groups. It really does.
Yeah,
Absolutely
very,
wonderful.
very sad.
Yeah.
Very.
Now
Fuck warlords.
we can end it here on this last little topic. I think this is obviously the best one. Siege. In the grand future of 3222, whenever that comes out, what exactly for both of you? Honestly, we can start with Herman or Tyler, whatever one wants to go first. The grand goal of Austria and how you expect the whole community in general to change with siege and everything.
I think that the quality of the individuals, by and large, will decrease. I think it happened with campaigns. Pre-campaigns, every soldier was worth way more, and for better and for worse, right? I think pre-campaigns in EI, for example, every soldier that could shoot straight and every soldier that could hold their own in melee and was very steady was a very, very valuable asset. But now, if you have someone that top frags, okay, you have someone that top frags. But at the end of the day, the points per or damage per person is really determined by the size of a line and the aggressiveness or skill of the line commander, right? The ranker at the end of the day matters only as much as to give numbers to a line, which sounds harsh, but the reality of the situation is that everything revolves around field command in Waterloo. And so it's a very, very tough system, which is good. But I think what Siege is going to do is decrease the overall skill of the soldier, but it's going to bring back that necessity of the soldier. So the soldier is going to be given a much bigger responsibility in the new Siege deck, from my understanding and from my hope for it. Whereas campaigns is going to stay that commander centric and more elite focused, type of gameplay that really forces everyone to work in a coordinated way, and in a way that is very sweaty, but that breeds success. Like the fifth core strategy was incredibly sweaty. I think I've probably said hold W more times in my time in Waterloo than I have said any other command. Even more times than literally push. It's been hold W. To be fair, they're congruous terms, but I mean that in and of itself gives a pretty clear example of what it meant to be a sweaty commander. And I think what Siege is really going to do is it's going to take away from that sweaty aspect, and it's going to give these rankers, I think it's called territories, but it's going to give rankers a much more fun experience, and an experience that's really going to be a way to breed insane growth, which will hopefully get Austria, at least as far as I'm concerned, over the 400 hump. Because I think 200 is right around the corner. 300 is not super far off. And with Siege, I really do think that we could get these regiments up to 100 apiece, if the recruiting grind is in place and everyone is really trying. But that's just what I think will happen, what I'd like to see happen.
Right.
All right,
Tyler,
very cool.
Your side of the Siege story.
So with Siege, patrols will finally be back. You know, I'm really happy about that because now ads can run. And if we're already hitting 200 without ads, fuck, we're going to hit so many members come Siege. And to the point where we're going to probably end up having to funnel guys into Medina, which isn't a big issue at all. That's a third corps for us. So hip hooray. The way I see it, I'm fine with the regiments expanding whatever size they want. And I personally, the way I see it, we're going to get to a point where it's going to be regimental events. Regiments fighting other French or British or whatever regiment it is on the siege maps. Just fighting, whatever it is. Patrol fighting, of course, will happen. And campaigns is going to be used for the best of the best versus the best of the, best of the best of each side. So that, in my opinion, would mean we're going to reform the Grenadier Division and just send in these Chad Grenadier battalions against the best of whoever it is coming in. Now, Siege is going to open up a lot of opportunities for us, and a lot of those opportunities are growth and getting people in. It's going to make the Depot Battalion really, really important, where you're actually, I think personally, the Depot Battalion come Siege should really be like, your new recruits, raw recruits. They really got to actually come to drill to move up. And if they don't deserve to come to the actual organized events. That's just my opinion. It should be left to the Fusiliers and Grenadiers to do the organized events. If somebody comes in and is in the Depot Battalion and doesn't want to put in the effort, then they don't get to come to the big battles. They can sit around and patrol all day for all I care. It's not too difficult of a concept. And I believe that's something that the French are going to begin doing as well, leaving the actual organized events to the Fusiliers and the Grenadiers. And of course, France is going to have their Voltigeurs, but that's not important to us. So that to me is a big reason for, like, Depot doesn't make sense right now, naturally. But come Siege, with the mass influx of people, we think we're getting a lot of people now. Holy shit, we're going to get a lot of people come Siege. I'm big on marketing, so as a business minor. So, of course, I'm going to make Hohensalzburg look stunning as best as we can. Good GFX. Give every opportunity we can to our regiments to recruit, grow big, grow strong. And I think Siege is just going to work wonders for not only Austria, but the community as a whole to grow. And I still see Austria being the largest, no matter what it is.
All right, bright futures ahead. Thank you both. Hawk, do you want to do a short audience Q&A segment, and then we can end this off?
Sure. Short is definitely right.
Yeah.
Is there any just do it in general chat, sure. Just
just do it in general. We'll try and catch y'all. All right, so just hit your questions up if y'all want. I'll try and catch you. All right, Dino Man.
Don't
when's
even
NR4
bother. Don't
coming
even
back?
bother. No.
Officer training. Who wants to know about officer training?
Okay.
I
So,
want that so
good
bad.
question, because it is going to happen again.
Yes.
We're currently in the process. I'm doing a few final touches on our client situation, and once that is settled, we'll be making a new officer Discord, inviting Medina as well as Austrian staff, myself, Jack, Herman, Hawk, and Sneaky if he wants to not be lazy. Will be giving the Officer Academy stuff a second go around. Of course, we'll have like special speakers like Steph come in and talk about his regimental experience and all that kind of stuff. So yes, we are bringing back the academy.
People are asking about the cores. I assume you're never bringing
Okay.
that back.
Look, I wanted to keep it. I wanted to keep it DL for a while because I wanted to see where we were and where we're getting to. And we're at this point where cores do make sense and probably will happen. The first two times we attempted cores, the reason they didn't work the first time was because there was no siege in sight. That was back in March, May area. Siege was nowhere. It wasn't even a twinkle in Gory's dinkle. So there was no way in hell that the burnout was coming on really strong from Waterloo. So the cores naturally were beginning to die. So that's what happened the first run with cores. There was no hope for growth. The second time through, we did cores when Wagram dropped, because we had that massive explosion and we jumped the gun with making the cores, thinking that we were going to retain that activity, but it was only Wagram hype. It wasn't actually real growth. This time around, everything's in place. Siege is right around the corner. I know that because I'm, on the development team, and I've been to a few of the test runs already. So it's right there. It's in our grasp. And I know that there is a chance for growth. The second thing, we actually have staff that can man the cores. Whereas before we were struggling with general staff, this time around we have the general staff to be able to field these cores. So it's looking like there is the cores will happen very soon. You'll be getting a announcement about that in the future.
All right, let's just get the last two questions down and then we'll end this. I'm getting hungry. Chewy asks, out of curiosity, wouldn't it make more sense when regiments grow big enough they could almost be their own cores?
Here's the thing. That is what the idea was. And it's not like I'm going to say, yeah, we're going to do cores right here and now. And, we're going to just get right at it. Right. And do the cores. We're still weighing the options. And, if we do decide to go with cores, we'll make an announcement about it. If not, then, no worries about it. I understand the concern. The regiments are just going to grow really big come siege. And what's the point? Well, some regiments might not want to do that. Might not want to be that core size and level. And I can still see cores being useful regardless of the size of the regiments. Cores in that sense could be used more as an organizational tool. And a way for us to organize ourselves better, regardless of the size of what the regiments are. So we'll look into it.
All right, one last question, and then I'm going down for lunch. Someone asked about cavalry. What's going to happen with that?
All right, so right now, I don't think there's much point for cavalry as it stands. Come siege, I know arty, rifles, cav are all reworked and will be out, so I don't know what those look like yet. And come that we will figure that out when we get there. So there's not really a big plan for it as it is. So I can't really say, this is this is our plan for cavalry, because I just don't know what the mechanic or the animations or how it's going to look is going to be, because the current cav is not going to be the final cav. And I don't want to set stuff up now and then have to change it later.
All right. I gotta get this
All
final
right,
question. No. I gotta get this final thing in. The Crusade
No,
thing.
Hawk,
What's going
please.
on with the
No,
Crusade
Hawk.
thing? Let's talk about the
That's-
Crusade. Come on.
Hawk,
Yeah,
come
gotta
on.
give the explanation,
We can't-
Tyler. What's
no,
going on with
Hawk,
the Crusade
Hawk.
stuff? Nope.
We
no,
can't just
nope, we're going.
crusade the Ottomans.
It's fun.
Hawk.
It's fun. It's an inspiration thing. Deus Volt got Maroons.
24 started it.
Yep, 24 started it. Fun stuff. Everybody has it. Big Crusade moment.
Let's go, boys. We're taking Jerusalem.
No, the
And I
guys in
am
general are
giving,
gonna go
giving
freaking
myself
crazy,
custody.
man.
And we're reforming the HRE. God bless.
No,
In the future,
All right.
reforming HRE.
damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
HRE, baby.
Okay,
All right,
Herman.
let's call it there.
But thanks for
Yeah,
having me.
for everyone,
course,
for
thank you,
everyone
guys.
still here. Yeah, for everyone here, thank you for listening. This has been episode 1 of Feldzeitung. We'll see you in the future when we decide to film this shitty thing again.
Yeah, it's
Thank you
trash.
all.
Thanks.